Okay, now, the third and final thing that we need to tackle today is the toughest one. Okay? It's the schedule. And the reason I say that is because, once again, I find myself in a situation where I don't know what to play. I don't know when to play it. I don't know how to play it. And it seems like no matter what I choose or what I do, no matter who I listen to, I get told I made the wrong decision. I screwed up, this and that. All right? So, to give you some perspective here, all right? Here's my perspective. All right? This year, we are now in April, so 3 months have passed in 2024, right? I do not feel at all that this year has had one highly in-demand blockbuster game at all. And that is very odd. Previous years around these times, we've had games such as Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4 Remake, just to name a few in the last couple of years. And each time one of those games came out, it felt like an event. It felt like this is something everyone's excited for. This is something everyone wants. And then when I played them, that's exactly what happened. People got excited. They came to the streams. They watched. They supported. They loved the fact that I was playing the big game. Okay? And this has been usually every year. Within the first quarter, there's a game like that. Okay? Right? This year, what have actually been the biggest, hypest games that everyone talks about? Palworld. Helldivers 2. Okay? And what's the latest one? There's another one out, I think, right now that everyone's talking about, right? Now, do you see the difference between the last 2 to 3 years and this year? You'll notice the big pattern, correct? That's different here, right? The difference is, previously, these were giant games that were AAA releases, that were readily available on every platform, that everyone wanted to see me play. It was an easy slam bang decision. Let's get them, let's play them, let's do it. And even if they didn't last, for example, Hogwarts Legacy did not last that popularity the entirety of the playthrough. It was basically like the first couple of weeks and then it died out. But still, it was that event, big event feeling when I went into those playthroughs, correct? And that was good. And then what you do is when you have those big event feeling games, you fill in the blanks with other games and everything works fine, correct? This year, we haven't had that once. And I mean that. With Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, maybe for me and for the Yakuza audience, we felt that. But that did not feel that way across the board in gaming. It's a small niche audience that likes that Japanese-centric culture JRPG style game, right? Let's be honest here. That's absolutely true. I thought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was going to do it. I thought that would be the big game. Absolutely not. When I started playing Rebirth, within a couple of streams, all the hype had died down. People were already talking about other RPGs that were already out or about to come out, or they were talking about Helldivers 2 or something else like that. This year, there has not been a single game that has been so big or so momentous or so hyped or so in line with what everyone wants that it becomes the talk of the town and the one major focus at all. It just hasn't happened. And you could say, well, what about Helldivers 2? Yes, but that's for a certain audience. That's for those who like the indie game, for those who like a co-op game online. It's not for everyone. You know, people playing Helldivers 2 are not necessarily the same people who are going to play an RPG, who are not necessarily the same people who are going to play a fighting game, right? But when everyone ran to play Elden Ring, everyone ran to play Resident Evil 4 Remake. You see the point I'm making? There really hasn't been at all one game that has stood out and been the big game in the first 3 months of this year. Instead, I've explained this, what's happened, I feel like people have gone into their own pockets, their own little niche communities for each kind of game that they like. The RPG players are having a great time because there's a million RPGs out right now, but they're kind of clustered because there's so many out, they don't even know what to focus on, right? The people who like the online co-op stuff, they're all playing Helldivers. Fighting game players, we're playing Tekken 8. Then the DLC came out for Street Fighter 6. They moved on to that. So even there's like a discrepancy. Is it Tekken 8 or is it Street Fighter 6 right now? Right? Like the focus is just all over the place. And when that happens, it's very hard for me to do stuff that appeases my audience. Right? I was locked in this huge playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 for months and months. I wanted to keep playing Like a Dragon. I toughed through it despite the fact I knew that the majority of my audience wasn't paying attention. I got through both. And now I'm at the end of the tunnel. I'm doing new stuff. I'm enjoying myself, by the way. Like, Alone in the Dark is great. I'm going to keep playing that game. It's probably going to be about 2 more major streams. And I'm very excited to continue playing and finishing it. And people are showing up for it and engaging and supporting the streams, which is great. That's why I find it odd that here we are, and it's saying like one of my videos of it has 100 views. How is one video of over 400 views and one has 100? It's the same playthrough. What would make someone watch one video 3 times more than the other when it's an ongoing narrative playthrough? It makes no sense. I think YouTube's fucked up. Okay, but anyway. The point I'm making here is I'm trying to make the right decisions. Okay? And I've made some decisions based directly on your feedback, but now the result that's happening afterward isn't as expected, and I need to know what you guys want me to do, because for the month of April, I mean, we're going to know better when we hit up Saturday and my marathon event for my birthday, because on Saturday, we're going to be going through the game schedule, and when we do that, we're going to see exactly what games come out when, and we'll be able to see, excuse me, we'll be able to see what happens with new releases versus time in between new releases, and see if we want to fit in other games and things. That's going to help for sure. But right now, for the month of April, I'm uncertain on what to focus on, except Elden Ring, because I need to play Elden Ring. All right, I need to get back to the point where the DLC is. Right, I have to. If I don't, I can't play the DLC, and I know everyone wants to see the DLC in June. Correct? Guys, I'm just going to say this right now. Shut up about Stellar Blade. We're not even talking about that. That's later in the month. I've already said I'm not interested in it. And if you spam the chat with it, no matter who you are, I'm going to time you out. So shut up about Stellar Blade. That's not the topic right now. You have to listen to what I'm saying and stop spamming chat with nonsense. Okay? Shut up about it. It gets tiring. It does. When people say the same shit every day. And I've already tons of times explained rationale of why I'm interested in a game or why I'm not. You should respect my decision to want to play a game or not, and not fucking spam chat like a child. So please stop. Okay. Now, here's what's going on right now with my current playthroughs. Let me get you all caught up with this. Okay? Right now, Alone in the Dark's doing good. Every time I play it, good attendance, good engagement, good support. Playthrough was doing fine until this view issue, which I don't know if it was an issue or not. What the hell's going on with it? But it's doing well. Okay? Cool. Excellent. We are about to jump back into Elden Ring. I don't know how this is going to do. I don't. But I feel like this is a necessary thing I have to do anyway. Right? Correct. I have to play Elden Ring. We have to get to the DLC portion. It's going to take a bit because I have to get back into the game. It's reacclimated. I have to add this word to my vocabulary. Because I keep saying other words that aren't correct. The word is reacclimated. It means you have to get adjusted back to a climate. Like, let's say you were living in a hot, warm climate, but now you're moving somewhere where it's cooler. Right? So you have to get reacclimated. And that's what it is. I've been away from FromSoft for a year. Yes, I did play Lies of P, but that played a lot more like Bloodborne. I have to get reacclimated to the world of Elden Ring. I have to get up to the point where I can do the DLC. It's going to take a bit. There's a while to go, and there's content to do before we get there. Okay? So this is necessary regardless. And again, to reiterate why I need to play Elden Ring now, I don't want to start Elden Ring in like May, play for a month, get to the point where the DLC is, and then immediately start the DLC. That's too much Elden Ring. You know, I want to play some now, then be able to take a break from it, and then go back to it feeling refreshed for when the DLC comes out. And that's my point here, is that's why this is the right time to start Elden Ring again. Okay? Now, excuse me. So, that's why Elden Ring is going to work, I feel. Okay? So, between Alone in the Dark and Elden Ring, that stuff is set, and I think we're good on that. Alright? What's uncertain right now are the night streams. Alright? First of all, tonight we're actually going to try the Star Wars Battlefront Classics Collection again. And I'm curious to see how it works and if it works. Because we played it on release day and it didn't work. At all. It was just broken. Horribly laggy. Hit detection not working. It was just a waste of time. Right? So, tonight, they've patched it and I want to see how much better it is. If it plays decently, then we can at least have it as a random stream every once in a while. I'm not saying it would be a regular thing, but maybe once a week, toss it in there as a variety stream or something like that. I think that would work well. Okay? Now, exactly. Nick says, I wonder if people already moved on. Yeah, I don't even know if it works, right? I literally don't know if it works. And if it does work, how many people are playing it? It's a good question. That's why we're going to experiment with that tonight. Okay? Now, I'm currently playing a game. I'm 9.5 hours into it. All right? And I don't know what to do with it. It's called Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay? I'm only playing Dragon's Dogma 2 because you guys and gals requested it. Remember, originally a few weeks ago, I said I was set on playing Rise of the Ronin. Okay? I said I want to play Rise of the Ronin. And everyone was like, well, you can play Rise of the Ronin, but we feel that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be a better choice. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like it might be a Game of the Year contender. Dragon's Dogma 2 is just going to get better, more people. It's going to get more viewership, and you should definitely play Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay? And I'm like, well, by the way, now I'm just going to start banning people, because now you're just doing it on purpose. So I'm just going to start banning people now. I mean, go ahead, keep bringing up Stellar Blade and see what happens. I've outright said no a million times, so every person who says it will just be banned, and I'm going to laugh, actually. In fact, here's 2. There you go, there's 2, and let's continue. Just continue to say it and see what happens. You want to test me, go right ahead. I have a point to make on my stream. I have to concentrate and not be distracted by idiots. Okay. Now, as I was saying, with Dragon's Dogma 2, all right, this is a game that basically combines the gameplay of a FromSoft game, say Dark Souls, with Monster Hunter. Like, I feel like that's exactly what they were going for with it, okay? Like, totally dead on, that's what they were going for. They didn't want it to feel like you were playing Dark Souls again. They wanted you to feel like you're in a team-based setting with others co-oping against these giant, creatures that if you just soloed them, you wouldn't be able to beat them. So essentially, it almost feels like a co-op Dark Souls, but it's not because it's AI, right? You're not teaming up with real people online or anything like that. That's really what the first game felt like. It's cryptic. It doesn't have a lot of explanation of what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to go about stuff. So there you go. A lot of people like that. A lot of people don't, right? Like, a lot of people feel like the game is too cryptic and has a lot of issues. And what I've always noticed is the moment I started playing it, people are like, wow, the game looks like shit. The game doesn't look like shit. It performs like shit. And what I mean by that is the graphics themselves are fine, but the game has a choppy frame rate because they did it in the RE engine, which isn't meant for an open world style of game, yet they did it anyway. And of course, at launch, they instituted motion blur and they instituted ray tracing. So the whole first 7.5 hours of my playthrough do look bad. But as of last night, they patched the game and now you can disable that stuff. And now the game looks better. It does. It does look much better now. So I think Capcom is addressing the issues. The problem is it took them a week and a half to get around to addressing any of them. And that could be an issue for a lot of people. First impressions are everything, right? And that's a problem. If people look at first impressions, wow, why is the game so choppy? They're going to say, well, I'm not going to pay attention to it anymore, right? For me, I'm 9.5 hours in, and I'm on the fence about the game. Like, I don't love the game, but I also don't hate it. I feel like right now, I'm just kind of still feeling it out of what I think about it. There are times when I really like it, awesome moments when I'm smashing enemies and doing cool combos and taking out big bosses. I'm like, this is neat. And then there's other times, like last night, just listen to this. Last night, I freaking go for a mission, and the mission says, just go to a masquerade ball. Okay, so I dress in the clothing, I put on a mask, I walk into the ball. I get an achievement. It says, you attended the masquerade ball. And as I'm walking in, all the people walk out. And I'm like, where'd everyone go? And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Is there a mission here or not? And I can't figure it out. So now I'm passing time, and the ball just won't restart. And everyone's like, yeah, so you're like the unluckiest dude on the planet. You literally walked into the masquerade ball as it ended, which ended the quest. So now you have to cycle an entire day's time and come back at the beginning of the ball to have the NPCs start doing their dialogue triggers again so that you can actually have the mission advance. And by the way, the cutscene that's supposed to play never played for me. There's supposed to be a cutscene showing someone walk behind the masquerade ball into a room, and then you figure out, oh, there's a secret passage in that room. That's where you go. And it never happened for me. So it's like, I guess I'm just Mr. Unlucky, right? So stuff like that frustrates me, you know? And the fact that the entire game, I know it's going to be a lot of walking, going on foot and stuff. It's going to not be the most fun thing to watch at all moments. But like I said, I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 would ever work as a daytime stream. It's too lengthy. It's too dragging on. There's not a lot of story developments at all in it. Like, there's almost no story in this game. Usually it's a few quick cutscenes, and you're right back to doing the kind of grindy style open world gameplay and combat, which is the majority of the game. Excuse me. So, I don't think it's going to work in that regard as a day stream. You need something that's more narrative-based or more action-based for the day stream. You do. So, that's why I made it the late night chill stream, and people seem to agree. Yeah, it's going to work better there. So, last night, I played it. And now, keep in mind, launch day, I played 5.5 hours of it, but then I wasn't able to play it right again because I had to finish up Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon, which I have. Then I played it again on Saturday night, and now I played it again on Monday night. Last night, it was a decent attendance, let's put it that way. But what I found is half the people that were there were just there to troll. They were just a bunch of new accounts I'd never seen before, and they're saying stupid shit, and they're saying disgusting things. Their names are all messed up, and they're just sitting there trolling in the chat. I'm like, ugh, you know, when I get a late night chill stream, I just want to relax with the audience and enjoy the game and interact a lot. We didn't get that last night, although there were a few people there that were very helpful with the game or whatever. Basically, it was very frustrating to have a lot of idiots in the chat. I was like, oh my God, I got to deal with this shit, right? And to be very frank, all right, engagement was low and support was very low. And, you know, the thing is, I can have like one what's considered late night chill stream game in the rotation where we don't get a lot of engagement or support. It's more about a smaller crowd, a niche audience that likes it, okay? And that's the game that's how it happened. That's literally what Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was. For end of January all the way until just this week, that was my late night chill stream game, where for 2 months, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of people. I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of support, but I liked the game and I wanted to continue on with it, and it went for 60 some hours, okay? It's okay to have one game like that in the rotation, but I can't have 2-3 games like that in the rotation. I've got to find games that people actually want to see, will come out to engage and support. That's how I maintain this business. That's how I'm able to do what I love for a living, is that balance, all right? Again, if I just played all the games that I always wanted to play, it wouldn't work. I've got to find that happy medium between everything I love, what you guys love, and the things that we can do together that are going to work out, right? And that's why I love having these interactive conversations with all of you, because I get your feedback right away and we get to judge what's going on. And honestly, that's why I'm upset about the comments. I was trying to get comments on the gameplay last night and my daily wrap last night to find out what to do today, and I couldn't get the comments approved. It really frustrated me. I'm like, dude, this is the time I really need feedback. And if YouTube didn't want to work, I'm like, oh my God, that's really what drove me nuts this morning. Okay. So after last night's stream, it's like, it performed so poorly. I mean, literally, I got like 1 super chat all night. I think it was 2 memberships and like 2 tips. So it was like maybe $10 raised. And again, it's not always about that, but is this going to be a pattern for this game? Is this going to be my late night chill stream game, just like a Dragon, where that's the case? If that's the case, okay, but then I got to be sure that everything else I'm doing is in line with what you want so that those streams do better. Okay? So that's the question I'm proposing to everyone. All right? Dragon's Dogma 2, what do you think about it? If you don't think the game's good, why? Is there something I can do about the playthrough to improve it so people will actually show up and engage and support with those streams? Or is it destined to be a game that people just aren't going to like? And if that's the case, why? Because I really want to know. Because remember, I was going to play Rise of the Ronin. I was dead set on playing Rise of the Ronin. And you guys convinced me otherwise and said, no. I remember the day I was sitting right here. And I said, what would you say? Everyone, DD2, 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 DD2. Everyone wanted Dragon's Dogma 2. Everyone asked for it. And I said, all right, I guess I'll change my mind. I'll listen to your opinions. I'll do what you want. And now here we are playing it. And now people are like, nah. So what happened? Right? Where is that discrepancy? Is it a problem with the game? Is it a problem with my play style? Is it a problem with both? Is it a problem with the time slot? I want to know. Because sadly, I hate to say it, this kind of game, I don't think would work as a day stream. As I said, the day streams usually have to be focused on games that have a lot of narrative or a lot of, say, like different kinds of action and stuff like that. This game is just open world roaming, grinding a lot of repetitive combat, not a lot of big narrative or story elements at all. The game has almost none. It's very bare bones in that regard. It's more about exploring the world and smashing monsters constantly, right? Excuse me. So I need to know your opinions, and I definitely want to hear. See, Zero says if you're not enjoying it, it won't work. Who says I'm not enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2? Like I said, I'm not in love with the game, but I feel like I'm just getting into a rhythm of playing it. I played it 5.5 hours on launch day, 2 hours on Saturday night, 2 hours last night, and I just got a new build. I just got the Warrior build, and I'm trying to learn it. And are there some frustrating things about the game? There are, but I feel like just like with the first time that I played this game, it grew on me. Like originally when I played Dragon's Dogma 1 12 years ago, at first, I was definitely kind of like, oh, I don't know about it. I don't know about it. But once I finally got into a rhythm, once I got a build that I really liked, I ended up enjoying it a lot more. I did treat it, quite frankly, even though I wasn't a streamer, I treated it like my chill game. Like I would sit back and relax and I would play it and I would have a drink and I would grind and I would kill monsters and I would record that footage and upload it. And honestly, it didn't do that well. Do you want to know the truth? Dragon's Dogma, the original playthrough, didn't do that well. I think it was like the first, few days that I played it did okay. And then after that, once you got to the part where you realize, oh, the formula is just a bunch of open world grinding, it actually didn't do well at all. I remember because I wanted to rush to finish it because I was going on a trip. And then I beat it, but then everyone's like, there's a post-game dungeon. I was like, seriously? Well, let me just rush and finish the dungeon. And come to find out the dungeon is like 6-7 hours long. I thought it was like an hour long. So I was rushing to finish it. I didn't get it done. I just remember that. Okay? So basically, I know for a fact, even back then, this franchise didn't do that well in my content. And that was when I was at the peak of my height of popularity on YouTube, right? So that's what's frustrating here is I don't know what to do about this game. Is this a game you want me to keep playing? How do I adjust it to make it work? I try